5 times 5 plus 12 times 12. We know to follow the order of operations, which means that we do the multiplications before the additions. What if you didn't know? Suppose that a student is calculating 5 times 5 plus 12 times 12, but doesn't know to follow the order of operations. For example, maybe the student gets excited and first says to do 5 plus 12 is 17. And then, replacing with 17, you have 5 times 17 times 12. And then the student decides to replace this 5 times 17 by 85 to get 85 times 12. And finally, there's nothing else to choose, so they just take 85 times 12 and get 1020. Or maybe the student first replaces the 12 times 12 here with the 144 to get 5 times 5 plus 144. And then the student replaces the 5 plus 144 with 149 and gets 5 times 149, which the student calculates to 745. Or maybe the student does everything correctly by accident. That would be a nice accident. How many different answers can he get? This is an example of a question about number 7 type difficulty on an AMC 10. To do these questions, the most dangerous thing is that it's very easy to do it wrong. Actually, with this kind of question, the most common answer is wrong. Here, what I want to share with you is a way of trying to make sure that you found all of the possibilities. And especially with these sorts of questions, being able to know for sure that you're done is a very good thing to be able to do, because then you can know to go on to the next question instead of continuing to search to see if you forgot one. First, let's start by writing the different ways that we already know to get different answers. Some of them are already given in the problem. For example, 5 times 5 plus 12 times 12. One way to do it is to first do the middle. Then you get 5 times 17 times 12. And actually, if you look at this, what you see is that since the only thing left is times, there isn't any choice left. It won't matter what you do those operations in. So I'll already say no matter whether you do this one or that one first, you'll get the same answer, which the problem already told you. The problem already told you was 1020. Another possibility is that you have the 5 times 5 plus 12 times 12. And this time what happens is you start by doing the last 12 times 12. Now you get 5 times 5 plus 144, which this one gives you. This one then says, suppose what happens next is that these multiply, these add, and if these add, you get 5 times 149, which the problem very nicely told us is 745. Well, here I see I already have a choice. So another possibility here is not to do the plus first, but to do the times first. So another possibility from here is that you actually did it correctly with the 25 plus the 144. And if you do this, 25 plus 144, if you add those together, you will get 169. So far, we have 3 different answers. Are there any more? This is where you need to start to think, have I systematically thought of every possibility? I tried adding the middle first, I tried adding the right first. How about the left first? So there's also this 5 times 5 plus 12 times 12, where what we do first is now we multiply the 5 times 5, and you get 25 plus 12 times 12. From here, maybe we have to worry about whether we do this first, 25 plus 12, or this first, 12 times 12. Looking at this, 12 times 12 first gives me the same as that. And the question asked how many different answers we can get, so I don't have to worry about that. So we only have to worry about this one. 25 plus 12 times 12, that would give me 37 times 12. The question asked me how many different answers I can have. It didn't ask me what all the answers are. Here I'm just looking, and I know that this is going to be different from those other 3 because the last digit of this is 4. 7 times 2 is 14. I'm starting to show you some shortcuts that you can use to do these questions faster. So now I know so far I have 4 different possibilities. And if you think about it, it seems hard to think of any more possibilities. I could actually see that I've exhaustively listed everything out now, because I thought about each way I can start with, and I thought about each thing that could go next. That's good. Let me show you another way that's quite satisfying to explain why there are no other things to consider. You see, let me write down this 5 times 5 plus 12 times 12 again. There are 3 operations that I have to do: a times, a plus, and a times. I could think of these operations as the first operation, the second operation, and the third operation. And so really what's going on is I can think about doing these 3 operations in some order. I could do the first and then the second and then the third. Or I could do the first and then the third and then the second. Or the second and then the first and the third. Or the second and the third and the first. Or the second or the third and the first and the second. Or the third, the second, and the first. Of course, what I've just listed out is 3 factorial different ways. And so there are 6 different arithmetic expressions I need to worry about. But the answer was 4. So the way I can see that this is actually going to be, the answer is going to be 4, is that when you look at these arithmetic expressions, for the ones that start with 1 and 3, when 1 and 3 are next to each other, like this one, which is 1 and 3 next to each other and then a 2, and this one, which is 1 and 3 next to each other and a 2, these 2 are the same because multiplication here and then there would be the same as multiplication then and then here. So I can say these 2 would be the same anyway. And I can do again, I can say 1, 3 is the key. If I do the addition first and then this multiplication 1 and then multiplication 3, that's the same as doing the addition first and multiplication 3 and multiplication 1. Here you see I'm being very careful because I really want to make sure I don't do this wrong. And so what I just saw is from 6 there are 2 double counts. So when I minus 2, I get an answer, which is also 4. With math, one of the most fun parts of math is when you have 2 different ways that come to the same answer, because then you're sure it's right. You see, I think many of you are used to feeling that feeling of, wow, I got it right, by doing a problem and seeing the answer and saying that it matches the answer. You see, you have that experience also. 2 different ways of seeing the same thing, although one of those things is the answer you got from the teacher or the book. This is a way where you find your 2 ways and they are both yours. Eventually, these are the most powerful ways because someday you'll be doing problems where there actually isn't a book.